Hello buddy and welcome to Frikanih where I'm going to show you today how to create the Travis Strikes Again title from the new release game of the Sega No More Heroes that, in case you don't know it, I totally recommend it to you. It's my favorite game along with Hotline Miami. And for making this you're going to need Adobe After Effects, Adobe Photoshop and a pretty cool font for making it. It's actually something pretty easy to do, but you're going to need some patience, I told you. So okay, let's get started. We're gonna head to Photoshop first of all, and we're gonna open a new file, and we're gonna make it 1080. Looks all right. And make sure that your background is transparent. We're gonna start adding text. I'm gonna put I don't know. I'm gonna make it black so that you can see it. Goichi Suda Rocks, perhaps. Goichi Suda is the creator. I'm using this font called Ben Wyatt. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. This is actually not the same font that it's used in the game, but I haven't found it, although I've done some research, but I wasn't able to find it. If anyone just by chance happens to know it or find it, please let us know in the comments below. So right, I'm gonna put it something like that, more or less. Yes, in case you're wondering, this is the same font as Stranger Things, and also used by Tarantino, I think, in most of his films. So okay, the first thing that we want to do, well, so I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm just going to paint it black, and I'm going to put it below because we're gonna add some glows and strokes, and so. But for adding our stroke, if we can double click and come here to stroke, and it will have a stroke. But the problem with this is that when it gets really big, it starts to round all the edges, and we don't want this. We want to have some pretty rough edges. So we're going to cancel it. And what we have to do, first of all, you have to be pretty sure what you want your logo to be, because what we have to do is going to type and convert to shape. And after doing this, you cannot change your text again. So make sure of what your text is going to be. So we have to go now to this tool, the path selection tool. We're going to click it. And now we're going to add some stroke, and we're going to go up here, and we're going to select neon blue. Maybe this one will already have some here selected. We want to make sure that the very first one is inside. So we have to come to this tab over here in align. We can choose if it's inside, in the center, or outside. The very first one we want it inside. And we want it to be something pretty small, maybe one will do it. I'm going to enable the black background so that we can see. And okay, looks good. So we're going to File, Save As, and we're going to save this. So I'm going to go right over here, and we're going to call this Title 1. All right. Because we want to have two versions of this. The first one is this one, and now we're going to edit. We're going to now duplicate this layer over here. Duplicate layer. We're going to duplicate this layer actually a lot of times. We're going to go to the one below, and we want to add now another stroke, but this time it's going to be black. And from now on, we want the stroke to be outside, so that we can see that as it starts going bigger and bigger, we can, now if we increase it, we can have these rough edges just as we wanted. So right, now we're going to duplicate once again. I'm going to enable again the black layer so that I can see what's going on. And the next one, we're gonna have another neon blue, but this one's gonna be a little bit darker actually. Want it darker. And this one's gonna be maybe 1.5, something like that will work alright. We duplicate it once again. This one is going to be 2, and it's going to be black. Again, we duplicate it. This one's going to be 3. We want this one to be again the bright neon. This one looks okay. We're going to duplicate the layer once again. This is going to be 4. And this one is going to be black. Going to duplicate the layer. This one is going to be 5. And we're gonna make white this one, so that now this actually starts to look as something pretty cool. Actually, I'm not gonna make it white. Actually, I'm gonna make it kind of very light blue, something like that. Okay, so now we have a pretty cool looking logo. What we have to do now is disable the very last layer so that we have a transparent background. And we're gonna go to File, Save As, and we're gonna go now and type title 2 so that we have the 2 different titles. So okay, let's head now into Adobe After Effects. We're gonna add a new composition, and that here was alright. I'm gonna call this Travis Tries Again, No More Heroes. Alright. And now we want to import the 2 files that we just created. So we're gonna drop it here. We're gonna add first the first title, so that as you can see, it has only the very first stroke, the very basic title that we created. If we drop on top the other one, it looks like this, but we're not going to do that by now. And now what we want to do is, if you have seen the video, it starts like typing, and with a stroke effect, it starts to type letter by letter. And I have found no other way rather than just doing this by hand. So what we want to do now is duplicating. Well, we're going to take this tool, the rectangle tool, sorry. We're going to take this, and we're going to duplicate this layer with Control D. We're going to move this layer. We're going to duplicate it once again, and this one is going to be here. So we have all the different layers, as you can see, and we want now to pre-compose each one so that the layers go with the pre-composition, so that we don't have any kind of layers here. So we're gonna go to pre-compose, make sure that you click here, move all attributes into new composition. This is gonna be called title 1, pre-compose, title 2, this one, pre-compose, title 3. Now, as you can see, well, I'm going to put it over here. Actually, I did it wrongly, but doesn't matter. And now what we have to do for creating this stroking effect, this effect that it's like typing, so we want to go and select our layer, and we want to create a path with the pen tool. Just the path that we want it to follow, we have to make it. So we have to click over here and start making all the path with all the letters. And actually I'm going to speed this up so that you don't have to wait for the whole thing. Alright, so I just started with the first word, with the first line, as you can see. And what we have to do now, I'm going to put it like this. What we have to do now is going to the effects and presets. We're gonna look for stroke, generate stroke. I'm gonna drop it on top, and I want to make it black so that I can properly see what's going on. And I want the brush size to put it up until we can see nothing. And what I'm going to do now, once we have it here, is going and modifying just a little bit the stroke so that I can see anything of this. Because what we see here, if we don't see it now, it will appear properly later in the animation. So we want to make sure that no spot is uncovered. Over here, or if you want, you can just, make it just a little bit bigger, just to make sure. All right, it looks okay. So what we want to do now is click over here and say reveal original image. If we go here to end, we can see that it animates the path that we have created. But before going to that, I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the other 2 layers. Alright, so I just finished doing all the 3 layers, and now you might be asking probably, why did we have to do this process and not just with the Saber plugin from Video Copilot, because you can do the same thing of stroking the letters. And the reason is because we want it to be one by one animated, and the Saber plugin, although it's an awesome plugin, I've used it a lot of times in lots of projects, what it does is it does the animation but all of the different letters at the same time, and we don't want that. If you want it to be a fast animation, it's going to be okay. You can use the Saber plugin, but if you want to do it this way, it's okay anyway. So right, the next thing that we want to do now is animating this, what we have created. So we're going to go the first layer, we're going to get end, we're going to add their mark of time, I don't know how it's called, a keyframe, that's it. I'm going to go maybe 1 second later, I want to put it at the end, okay. When I now come over here, put 0 and over here, and now the very last one, sorry, it's the same thing, the end 0, and there you go. Alright, so it looks pretty cool now. And now after we have done this, now we want to go and add our second title. And we're going to start, goes over here, I want to start maybe over here, more or less. I want to take a levels effect. I'm going to skip some frames forward, maybe over here, and actually a little bit more over here, more or less. I'm going to put a keyframe on the histogram. I'm gonna go to the middle, and I'm going to take down the input white. Something like that, more or less, so that we can see that it's really bright. Actually, if you want, you can even add a tint effect. And we can add the amount tint there, and then go back to 0. And here we want the opacity and 0, and over here go to 100, so we can see what we have done. It looks good to me. And after doing this, we want to make the glow that it goes also letter by letter. And for making that, we want to take a new solid, and we're gonna make it think similar to the neon that we have, to this one inside. And we're going to make it something like this. We can add feather, something like that. And we want to animate the path, so I'm going to click over there, go a couple of frames forward, and do this animation. Alright, so after doing that, what we want to do now is applying this shine to the text. And for making that, what we're going to do now is, first of all, taking this here, and we want to duplicate the layer. We want to delete the path and also the stroke effect. We want to add it on top, and we want to make it alpha matte. And we don't see anything because we have to apply an screen mode here to this title. And actually, now that I see it, I think I might put less feather. So we see how it looks like. It looks pretty cool. And we have to do exactly the same. Exactly the same thing with the other two layers. So we're gonna do it. I'm gonna duplicate the cyan. Go track matte. Duplicate title 2. Alpha matte. And I'm just going to put it below. No stroke effect. And I want the animation of this one to be a little bit later, maybe when the other one is at the middle. Actually not that much, maybe something like this. And we want to do once again the same thing. We duplicate it, we take the last title, put it on top, we delete the stroke effect, and with the with the anchor point we move it down, and we have to make sure that this layer is off. Once again, we take the animation, put it a couple of frames later, and this is looking pretty good to me. Let's see it. Alright, and now the last step for making it totally cool is putting the "No More Heroes" text that we can see over here. And I'm just going to do that pretty quickly. I'm going to add new text. I'm going to type I don't know, Frikanih effects. Can make it white, and I don't know what font to use. I'm just going to use this one maybe. This isn't at all the font that they use, but just so that you can see. I think that actually the No More Heroes font isn't a font that is like painted, because I've also been looking for it and I wasn't able to find it. So something over here, add a new solid, let's make it red, and alright. And we take now the rectangle tool and we put it over here. Now we want to pre-compose this. Pre-compose. I'm going to take the anchor point and move it at the middle. And this is looking like this because we have to put it on top. There you go. I think something over there looks okay. Actually, it isn't centered exactly, but doesn't matter. So after the animation ends, and I want it to be over here. So we want to toggle switches, apply the 3D object, and we're gonna animate the position. Over here, we're gonna go 5 frames back. And we want this to come right from the screen. You can apply the motion blur, and I'm going to delete it so that it starts right there. Watch it once again. Okay, looks pretty nice. And now for finishing it, we're going to take all of the different layers. We're going to pre-compose it. I'm gonna call this title animation. And actually this is messing me. Alright, and right after this title strikes, we want to have a very quick camera shake, and for making that we're gonna go to the effects and presets. We're gonna add a slider control effect. I wanna get the position. We're gonna hold Alt and click on the watch, and we're gonna type wiggle parentheses. We wanna have a pretty high value, maybe 50, comma, and now we want to take this, take it here, and close parentheses. And now we can see that it has no animation, because we're going to control the animation with this effect that we can see over here. So I'm gonna go, oh, I can see that it cuts over here. Okay, probably was a bad idea to move it. So we're gonna go just a couple of frames before it hits. We're gonna, at the slider, going to go exactly where it hits, and we can add a very high value, and then we can go, I don't know, 10 frames forward and go back to 0. I'm gonna add motion blur to this one again. Now it moves. Actually, that's too much. Yeah, that's definitely too much. I'm going to put it on 200 maybe. Actually, I think it's more than enough. And now, before 100% finishing it, we can add also another thing that will look pretty cool, and it's a glow, a stylized glow effect. Over here we can take the radius and like that, so that when it appears we can see this beautiful glow. Actually, we can make it a little bit more complex, and what we can do is make it just very subtle, duplicate it, put a low value, maybe 0.5 or so, and then expand it. Actually, I'm going to expand this one just a little bit. Nah, this one was okay. And I think it looks alright like this. After doing that, right over here, we want to take the intensity, go a couple of frames forward until it finishes. I want to put it both to 0, like this. And also, just for 100% finishing it, we will add a transition finishing blinds 5. We're gonna make it horizontal width, I think 5, or maybe even less, maybe 3 will work alright, because if you look at the original video, this is what it looks like until here. Alright, that we should make a keyframe over here, just go some frames forward, and we go back to 0. And that's it. We already have finished a pretty cool logo. So this was basically it. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I I hope that you also send me your videos applying the tutorials that you have learned with me, and I encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet. Please tell me what kind of tutorials you want me to do in the future. If there's any kind of effect that you want to do from any movie or whatever, just let me know in the comments below and I will do it as quick as possible. So thank you so much again for being here in this tutorial with me today. I'm Frikanih and I really hope to see you in my next tutorial. So see ya!